Is definitely user error. Yes.
Oops. Just oops.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, the silly story is that I've been here with my mom. She's had a knee replacement, and so I've been like in full caretaker mode. So to prepare for being away and for coming here, I was like full on setting up the new knit along and getting her emails pre-scheduled and social, all of the things. And yeah, so I changed the password for the next knit along. And forgetting that we were still zooming with this knit along. So we're back in business with the classic goat KAL. Yes. That was all my fault. So thank goodness for, like, I heard some emails coming in. I was like, uh-oh, why is it just me and Judy here? So, oh my word. Anyway, hello, greetings to everybody. I see some really beautiful, finished, gorgeous Carbeths on Gwen and Teresa, and you guys are looking awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This has been a lot of fun.
Great.
It has. Yep, and even have the second one going.
Me too.
Good. Awesome.
Mine's trying. Mine has part of a neck.
Oh,
It's
good.
Fantastic.
Oh,
hi,
Iris.
Kristen. Hi, Kristen. There was a problem.
Hi.
There was a problem with user error, so they should just try to enter the Zoom again.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Did you hear that? There's a problem with user error, and they said to try to enter again. Maybe close your browser and do it that way if it's not working.
Just literally try again. It was just my fault.
You're on a phone.
Yeah, I just typed
You
it
can
in
still
there.
close it.
Lots of different ways.
You can.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was my bad. Anyway, hello, Doris. You're new to us. You're coming into this KAL late, but we love to have you. How are you?
I'm good. I still haven't. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah.
I still haven't gotten my extra yarn.
Okay.
Apparently there was a snowstorm in Indiana and they didn't get it in the post office, and it's anyway. But I do have sleeves that I've had for, 4 or 5 years.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
I had some questions if you don't mind.
Well, you've got a whole Zoom room full of experts right now, so let's start the questions coming. We're here for you.
Okay, so my yarn says that it blooms.
Yep.
So does that just mean fills in, or does that mean it expands? What does blooms mean?
So what it means is, like, after, when you block, the fibers relax a little bit typically. And so typically we can get some data on how much and how it blooms by when you block your swatch. You can kind of measure before blocking and measure after. Yeah, that will give you a sense of what the blooming really looks like. Yeah.
Okay. I made a swatch. I didn't wash it, but this is, I don't know if anybody's ever used Kenzie.
Okay.
I'm using it double.
Great.
It's terrible twisting. I know some people said about that with the pairing it up. I've got it in plastic bags and stuff, even trying to sort it out.
Anybody else who did a doubling here who wants to weigh in on any tips for not twisting? Sometimes it's yarn dependent too.
Yeah. So I went into the shop and was talking to, I can't think, it wasn't you. Anyway, and they said, well, usually if I'm holding them double, I just put them on a ball winder and wind them together.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay.
Good idea.
Okay, that's like really clever. It worked perfectly. Yeah, it was Miranda.
Miranda.
It was
So
Miranda.
clever.
I'm like, well, yeah. Just put them together into one ball.
So do you think
it's
would
so
work
obvious you missed it, right?
What's that?
It's like, it's almost so obvious that
It
we
was
missed
so
it.
obvious, I didn't even think of it, yeah.
Do you think that would work if you wound it yourself by hand?
Yeah, because I don't have a ball winder, and I did a couple at the shop that day, but I've done them together. It's not quite as neat, but it works pretty good. Just make sure you gently wind so you just get a nice even tension on the two together.
Nice.
Thank you.
Awesome. First question answered. Check. What's next on your question list, Doris?
All right. As far as the measurement, I started out with the small pattern, and this was 4 or 5 years ago. And I haven't gained weight, but my body has changed, being over 60. And so I'm feeling fuller in the bust, but I'm still measuring about a 37.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I do the small if it's going to be too tight.
Well, remember that the pattern wants to have some ease.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I can't off the top of my head, and I don't have all the patterns in front of me tonight. But what's the next size up? Do you have the pattern in front of you?
The first size is a 38.5 size on the table, and the second is a 42.
Okay.
So that's a bit more. The arm,
and you're getting to gauge, your gauge is spot on, so there won't be any like surprises on that.
on the arm, it's been spot on. I did double points on the arm. I work better with that. So I don't know if you use double points, if that reduces the amount of, shrink it. I'm
It's a
working on
little
10.5s and 11s.
Yeah. I think it's a little tricky, and it really has to do with how you want the sweater to fit you. Because I've seen some folks that have gone with quite a bit of ease, and they're really comfortable with it. And then I've seen, like, for example, mine, I made size 3, which is about, what is size 3? Size 3.
It says 45.5.
Yeah, 45.5. So
Okay.
so my personal ease was like maybe like 4 inches or so. I feel comfortable with that. It doesn't feel like I'm swimming in it. So you're kind of right on the edge there.
Yeah, I feel that way. Plus, I know I have a pattern from 2019, and she did increase the sizing from that pattern by at least an inch on every size. So, okay, I guess I'll just have to think on that one.
And do you have the updated pattern, or?
I do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I bought it through Ravelry, so they sent me emails.
Yeah. The class. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, it's been changed 3 times.
Does anybody else have an opinion about the like ease and sizing question?
because I didn't read the pattern very carefully in the beginning. I ended up, I admit.
Not the only one.
Because it's actually down at the bottom of the chart. It tells you about the ease. So when I was doing this, like, oh, that's my bust size, I'll make that size, which is what I did. So this is the second size according to the chart, so the bust size is 40. So I went with that. And then I was like, oh my God, it's going to be too snug. Well, after I blocked it, it fits very nicely. So I like it. I'm in the process of making the next size up with a different color just to see the difference. I'm curious, so if I had read this more carefully, I probably would have gone up a size, but I love the way it fits. Very comfortable. So, but I'm, as an experiment, trying the other one. If it's bigger, it'll be just a bigger sweater. That's all. No problem. I don't think it'd be that much bigger. So.
Yeah. I'm making the cardigan. That's why my sizes are a little different, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And how much
sorry.
I'm sorry. And how much your yarn is going to bloom makes a difference too. How much you get from how much bigger it becomes can help, would make a difference.
Do you feel, because I was told by somebody that blooming doesn't mean that it will grow. It means that it'll just fill in.
I've had both. So
But
Mine's very
mine, it depends on the yarn, I guess. When
Yeah.
I blocked my sample, it actually didn't grow in length, it grew in width. The length remained the same.
That's what I
Sorry,
need.
I'm difficulty getting on, so I just got on right now. So I missed the first part of the discussion.
Well, Irina, you are, I would say, our reigning queen of blocking and swatching on this Zoom. So thank you for weighing in with your data.
Oh, I did. I was trying to figure out the sleeves, so I don't want to interfere with the discussion, but I have a bunch of questions about sleeves.
Okay. Doris, do you have more questions that you want to throw at the group?
Okay, yes, 2 more, that's it. Sorry, is that got 5? Is 5 the limit?
There's no limit. This group is very, very generous with their wisdom.
I wondered how much people have really added in consensus, like if they've been happy, or because I've noticed over the conversations, some are not, some people cut it. I watched that, and I've watched everything. I've watched everything you've said.
Awesome. So you're talking about the length, how much length people are adding. So it is very variable. And I would say if I make this sweater again, which I think I am going to, I was just like this close to like getting more yarn and casting on, but I was like, stay focused. We've got to focus on the next knit along. I'm definitely going to do the provisional cast on. I was pretty comfortable with the length that I added. And so that's like, I think I've got a good sense of what that is, but I still think a provisional cast on is if you're comfortable with that, that's probably the best way to do it. But as you, some people found that after blocking and after wearing, the sweater grows lengthwise. Some people, like Irina said, hers grew widthwise. Again, that's a yarn thing, but I think that if you're concerned about it, then the provisional is probably your safest bet to be conservative.
So I've never done that. I almost feel like, wouldn't you be knitting the opposite direction then? When you take it out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shouldn't make any.
Yes,
but it doesn't like look like anything
matter,
different.
right? It doesn't matter because you're going in a circle.
Yeah.
And in the cardigan, like I'm knitting a cardigan, I did a provisional cast on and I swatched on it several times to make sure it can be done. And it would only matter at the top, but because you're knitting down towards the bottom and you're attaching a button band to the edge, it won't matter.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not, but
So the big tip from Kate about this that I think definitely helped me when I was trying to estimate my length was to really like find your natural underarm and then think of it about it was pretty true to the knitters that I've worked with, that it's about 2 inches below that natural underarm. So it's a little awkward to measure on yourself. It might help to have somebody else holding the measuring tape so you can be like, well, I want it at the top of my pants or the bottom of my pants or whatever that magic is for you, and to have so that you can kind of relax your arm so that you can be like, okay, no, here's under here, that's about 2, so just an assistant might be helpful.
right. Well, honestly, I just jammed a yardstick under my pit and from there.
Love it.
Okay. So the other thing is I've never done a button band before. Is that a hard thing? Because I mean, I've picked up stitches when I've made socks. But that's a little intimidating for me, the button band, I guess.
I just worked on it. I never did it. So I've done practices on it and it's not bad.
Okay.
So I just will tell you to just practice on a different swatch a few times and then you get it. Because I had no idea.
Yeah, that's what
Doris's video on picking up stitches.
Yeah,
Pardon, I didn't get that one.
Watch Iris's video on picking up stitches. It's a good one.
Okay, good. Thank
And
you.
Judy, could I just ask Judy, did you find in terms of like how many you were picking up, like did you have to sort of play with it? Because I was looking at somebody's who was in the shop a couple of weekends ago, and they were challenged by, picking up too many and then having the button band kind of be a strange shape and
No,
kind of
I just did the 2 like they said,
okay.
and I haven't done I haven't, well, where is it? I don't know. Where is it? Oh, I haven't. I just have a little bit more to do on the band, but like I said, I practiced yesterday. I didn't want to do it until I had practiced and said, okay. Plus I watched a few YouTube videos and they all seem to be the same. So now, after I did that, I have it in my head. And so I'm very excited. My buttons came yesterday, so I can make the button band. So I'm very excited. Then I'm done. I can't believe I did it. So I have one question, which is, my other daughter saw it and she says, oh, I'd like you to knit one for me too. So my question is, but she would like a pullover and I have the cardigan. So how do I go about getting the another pattern? Go to you or to Ravelry or?
Yep, Ravelry. You can purchase it right direct through Ravelry. And yeah, and now that you've done the cardigan, I feel like that's a lot harder than the pullover. You'll just be easy breezy, right?
I
No
know,
purling.
and I just sent the pictures of all the yarn because I did the Bernat bulky, and my daughter goes, "Oh my God, there's so many colors," because she was saying. Mm-mm. So yeah, and I had to do a lot of changes on mine because my daughter and my family, we have big arms, so I had to make the arms larger, and it was the only thing that was tricky that I found tricky was the underarm part. I could totally do the Kirchner, but it just didn't work right. So I'm very good about weaving in and putting things together. So I was able to do it so it looked well. But that would be the part that I'd say was the most challenging, is sewing in the arm hole, the little armhole.
Yeah.
I have a question about the
didn't-
sleeve, and maybe you could help me a little bit, because I find the same thing, that because I swim, my upper arms are a little bigger. And so I have size 2, but it looks measurement wise that I need to do the sleeves from size 3. And
right.
because I'm a new knitter, I've never knitted a sweater, let alone a yoke cardigan before. Is it possible for me to do the sleeves from size 3? And then what kind of modifications would I need to do? And would that affect I guess that was my big question of today.
What I did was I just added more increases as I went up the arm. And I kept trying, I kept sticking my arm in it to see how it worked.
I'm doing it too. I'm sticking my arm in it. But did you end up, like on size 2, she was doing 6 stitches. She was moving 6 stitches.
Right.
And on size 3, she was moving 8 stitches. Did you move 8 stitches then?
I did move 8, or I moved 2 more.
2 more. May have gone.
I might have 10, yeah.
So Judy, I did the same thing because I'm making this for someone who has large upper arms as well. And I'm just at the point now where I've just, joined my sleeves in and I'm doing the, knit 5 rows or something like that. Yeah. And then did you have to do anything different or in particular when you got to your, the shaping, the yoke?
I did not do anything different.
Okay.
I figured it was best to leave that as it was. So the only thing different, let me see, is that when I got maybe up to the back and the front, I was a little bit shy. So I just did some, short rows. And
I thought I might either have to do a little bit of short row or just, do some extra
short rows
or something.
And the neck? Judy, you did the short rows at the neck?
I did in the back.
Okay. How did that out?
It worked out fine. It did. It
And
worked out fine.
how many did you end up doing?
I think 4 or 5.
Okay.
4 or 5?
Yeah,
So,
not a lot.
so as far as the arms, then the only change is instead of making 8, total of 8 increases, I would make 9 because it appears that on size 3, she's doing 1 extra set of increases. So another 2,
Right.
2 stitches, and then she goes up straight. And then instead of reserving 6 stitches for the underarm, she's reserving 8 stitches for the underarm. And for me,
Right.
those are the only 2 changes I would make for the larger sleeves, right? And
Right.
as you told Brenda, you did not make any changes in the yoke. It didn't affect in any way the yoke.
No, because you're only decreasing on the arms. So the yoke remains, the body stitches don't have any part of
I
it.
was just wondering whether like coming up the sleeve and onto the shoulder, would it make it too fatten the shoulders?
It did. No, it did not.
Okay.
It did not. No.
Yeah.
It fit very nicely, actually. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't
good.
add a lot, but just a tiny, what I did was, steps A and B. It was sort of, you do your make 1 row, which, at each end, and that gave it 2 more stitches in the row. And then instead of knitting 5, I knit 3, and then I did another increase row and knit 3,
Right.
and it seemed to make it fit right.
Okay.
And then I
That's
just went straight up from there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
And then my other question was, also about the sleeve, and it's Iris, it's apropos of what you were saying about the body, right? So, you were saying that to determine the length of the body, you find the natural underarm, and then you go down 2 inches, right? And would that be the same for the sleeves? Because that's a point of connection of the sleeve to the body. So as I'm determining, because I did provisional cast on the body, but I found it too difficult for me to do it on the sleeves. So I did cast on the sleeves regular way. And so I'm wondering where I should stop. And I was wondering if I should stop 2 inches below the natural armpit level.
Yes, indeed. You've got that. Yep.
Okay, so in effect, am I understanding correctly? It's sort of like 2 inches of ease. So she's adding 2 inches of ease for the underarm. Is that correct?
I mean, I guess you could think about that way. I mean, I also just think about how I don't like an underarm that's going to cut up too close anyway.
No.
And especially where this sweater overall has that ease. When I think of a sweater with 4 inches of ease or more, I'm thinking, well, I'm going to be wearing something underneath it. I've got maybe if you have a lot of ease, maybe you've got a vest underneath it, and it's an outerwear. So I think it's important, especially with that type of garment construction, to really consider what's happening at your underarm. Yeah.
Okay. And then you asked a question about the button band, and especially, because she says, for example, for size 2, pick up 55 stitches, but that's for the length that she has in there. And so for those of us that made it longer, we have to recalculate how many stitches to pick up. And I watched a tutorial when I was practicing my button band on a sample, because I never did one either. So I did a large swatch and I practiced. I watched a video by Suzanne O'Brien, and she actually shows how to calculate how many stitches to pick up. And she compares the gauge at the ribbing to the gauge to the row gauge, because effectively you're going to be doing your ribbing on the row gauge, right? So the stockinette row gauge, you're picking up stitches against that. And so what she said is to compare your ribbing at the bottom, like with that yarn, how many stitches per inch, versus your row ribbing on the stockinette, and then do a ratio. And my ratio ended up 4:5. So for every 5 stitches, I'm picking up 4 and skipping 1.
And I think also Elizabeth Smith has a video, like there's a lot of videos about that particular
Yeah, she
ratio,
does.
but and also Patty Lyons, I think, talks about it in her book. But yes, absolutely, it is. It's a ratio that has to do with exactly as you say, the ribbing to the row gauge. And so you can pretty accurately estimate that, you know, with those calculations, not estimate, but you can create the calculation in terms of the ratio that is correct for you and what you're doing, which it's an excellent technique to really think about too, because you know, I know that for myself, often my row gauge is a little different than the pattern. I mean, I really try to aim for correct stitch gauge, but row gauge more forgiving. So I tend to be less concerned about that. And definitely with and usually it doesn't matter, but in the button band and picking up, I would say that's when I start to really think about, well, what am I actually getting? Because the pattern might tell me to do something that isn't going to apply to my situation specifically. But great point, Irina. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. Pat, I was going to call on you because here you are modeling your beautiful cardigan with your gorgeous wooden buttons, and it looks so good. And do you have any thoughts about the button band, and how did you determine your own, like, did you find that it was difficult to determine that ratio, or, you know, how many stitches you were picking up as you went up?
I didn't. I just followed the pattern instructions and it worked out beautifully. And I especially like the I-cord buttonhole.
Yeah.
Buttonhole. That was so clever. So yeah, I thought she did a good job. Don't be afraid to try this button band. It really turns out well because of the knit 2 purl 2. It just lays so nice. So go for it.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Your cardigan looks just gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you. And once I blocked it, it did grow. And I added 2 inches to the bottom. And if you notice in the pictures that Iris posted, it comes down over my waist about 4 or 5 inches. Quite a ways. So it grew quite a bit down, as she said it would. And this yarn is just yummy.
Did you use the Barocco bulky too, or?
No, I used the West Yorkshire Spinner's Fleece.
Oh.
And I'm actually finishing my Scudic Bay that's also in the fleece. So I can't wait to see that one done as well. The fleece is, I'm a sold winner on that one now.
Huh.
Did you end up adding short rows in the back, or did you not?
Good question. Did she call for short rows in the back? No, and I didn't. I did it exactly as she said.
Because it's aesthetically, it's more beautiful, I think, without the short rows, because it goes straight to the
the back end, you know, mimics the
front
inverted V in the front. You know, it looks exactly the same. So,
but how does it wear? How does it wear without? Do you feel like it's a little low in the back or not?
No, it feels great.
No, once you get the collar on and everything, it's it works.
And I did the full collar. I folded it over just as she said, and 3 needle bind off, did the 3 needle bind off on it. And I love it. I think it's great.
Okay, so you don't feel that it's a little too short in the back. Okay.
You mean
I think also no, I think she's talking about at the back of the neck. And I wonder if it's something about that double edge, that double roll collar in the cardigan, because the ones that I've seen, it really seems to not dip down very much in the back.
No, I don't know if you can see.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Beautiful.
I mean, it makes sense to me with that double rolled collar. It's just a little stiffer because of the
it's a little bulkier, but it's
a little bulkier,
this yarn is nice and soft. And it stands up the way it's supposed to. It looks great.
No, it looks beautiful. And I like the way that it mimics, because if you add short rows, then it doesn't mimic, because that whole
you lose that pattern.
You lose the pattern. And that's, I think, as you said in the last call, that it was a design choice. And that is a design choice because that's how you can make the front and the back look, you know, follow the
Right.
same.
As she intended. And I was trying to stick with, I'm not clever enough to do my own design work, so I was trying to do what the designer was envisioning for her pattern, so.
I also increased my body by 2 inches, and I figured it'll be a total of 4 inches because she said that there'll be a 2 drop on
I don't
the.
know if you can see, I've got a t-shirt on, but I thought it would be, you know, at my waist. So I added the 2 inches and it's probably 2 or 3. It's really, it fits nice. For a cardigan, it's just perfect. If it was a pullover, I might have gone a little longer. I don't know, but I like the length on a cardigan.
And what size is this?
This one's a 2.
A 2. Perfect. That's
So
beautiful.
Can I ask if how much ease you felt you built in? Like when you were doing your measurements versus the pattern, because I'm wondering about that.
I followed her suggestion on bust size, and it said, didn't it say, and I don't have that pattern now because I'm on to something else. It was giving you 4 inches of ease or something on that. So that's why I chose the 2. Now the next one I'm going to make is going to be a pullover, and I'm going to go with the 3.
Really?
Because I want a little more room in a pullover.
Yeah.
No, you said you were gonna go with if there was 4 here, why would you go with the 3 if you like a little more room?
Because it's a pullover, not a cardigan.
So she
But I
meant
thought-
Size 3.
Size 3. She did size 2 for the first one. Yeah.
Okay, I thought 3 inches. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Oh, sorry, yes, the sizes. Size 2 for the cardigan, size 3 for the pullover.
Yes.
Because let's see, somebody else did, was it Kathleen? Is she on this Zoom or is she on the Sunday meetups? That did the Carbeth?
Yes.
Kathleen?
She's Sunday. Yeah.
On Sundays. She did a 3 and it looks beautiful on her. I like the way that it fits the body frame in the 3. So I'm going to go with the 3 because I'll probably wear something underneath it and then it won't look so clingy. I don't like a clingy pullover.
Very interesting.
Other folks have had questions, comments?
I'll just say that I added 2.5 inches. I'm knitting a size 2. I haven't tried it on, obviously, because it's not done yet, but I did not add any extra stitches when I picked up on the button band. So I just stuck with exactly what she said in the pattern, and it seemed to be fine.
Awesome.
She was good with her pattern writing. I thought I learned a lot on this one.
Yeah, I have to say I really learned a lot. It was a big learning experience. My grandmother sitting next to me.
That's so great.
When I wore my sweater to work the other day, a lot of people were commenting on this whole yoke yoke thing, like, oh, that's so cool. Because it's not something you see anywhere else.
It's so striking, and it's what I think really is just so brilliant. It's just such a like unique look. And I think it's flattering to a lot of shapes and shoulders. You know, shoulders can be tricky for folks too. But yeah, it's been amazing to see these sweaters coming in.
Good choice.
Very good choice.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna drop off. Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks
Irina, nice to see you.
Enjoy your walk.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now, I just have a question. If I want to upload a picture of my sweater, how do I go about doing that?
Like to send it to me for the slideshow?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can email it to me. My email's always at all of the bottoms of our little emails. So if you just email it directly to me, then I'll get it in the slideshow.
I attach it to you. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. I've gotten some great photos, and anybody who's got one in process, not finished, that doesn't mean I'm going to put that in this Friday's email. That doesn't, we would like you in the slideshow. In process is welcome. Absolutely, 100%. We love it.
Curious, I had Kathleen, when she was working on hers, was asking me some questions because we were working on similar ones, and she had asked about the neck and so forth. And so I took pictures of the folded over neck and the process. Would you want those for your history?
Oh,
Not necessarily
yes.
the slideshow, but for the history on
Yeah.
putting the pieces together?
In fact, if you
Awesome.
email them to me, I might even add them to Friday's email because I have not finished it. And, you know, I think 3-needle bind off can really give people the willies, but it's actually kind of, you have to be in the right mindset. But if you like to just be
Have
right,
to hold your hands in your mouth together at the same time and not let anything drop.
Right.
Yeah, thank you, Pat. That would be
Okay,
awesome.
I'll do that.
Pat, when
You
I
also
get
don't want anything to interrupt you when you're doing that. You want to start and finish.
Right,
You don't want
exactly.
any interruptions or it messes
Don't
it up.
talk to me, not now.
and if I freak out when I get to that point, I'm calling one of you.
Okay. I love a 3-needle bind off. I do that. You know, my husband really prefers that in like a folded hem on his sweaters. He just likes that finish. He doesn't like ribbing at the bottom of his sweaters, and so it was been a long time. But I did a whole adult size sweater all the way around, and I was
I'm
like,
impressed.
this is actually fun. And then I finished it, and he was like, you know, it's a little too long, and I was like, okay. Yep.
Did you take it out?
I did because, you know,
I know.
it's got to be right. So,
Yeah.
so took
Yeah.
it out and did it again. So, anybody here going to be joining us for the next knit along?
Me, I've already got my yarn.
I do too.
Wait a minute. I wanted to brag. Hang on.
Oh,
Right here. Look, girls, this is going to be such fun.
What size needle are we using with that?
Well, that's what's fun about it, Judy, is that it is, she calls for 3 different needle sizes, and that's like if you look closely at the images in the email, you can see the 2 ones that that Patty made, our customer Patty made. One of them has a little bit of a comes in at the top, which I think is a really clever design. And when I put on one of those, I really like that. So the top of it is just a little bit pulled in. So you actually start with 1 needle size. And so you've got a small needle size, a medium needle size, and a larger needle size. So you're based on whatever your gauge is. So I think in the pattern, it's like she's calling for maybe 3, 4, 5 or 4, 5, 6 or something. Let's see, what does she say? I have it here. Yeah, I think she's has you do 3, 4, 5. But again, it's whatever your gauge gets you to. But I love this pattern is gonna be so much fun. I think we're gonna have a blast with it.
Can't wait. This reminds me of the pattern that I think I told you this story a few months ago about me using the Manos de Uruguay Fino, that beautiful yarn, and making that multicolored shawl. Oh, it was so gorgeous, and it wound up in the washing machine and got agitated and felted.
Oh,
so this pattern is very similar to that, except that it's going to be whatever our little project is, instead of the nice big gorgeous shawl. But it'll have the different patterns throughout with a different yarn, so it'll be fun.
I think it'll keep us entertained, and a nice little palette cleanser after we've done our big sweaters.
Yes.
Yeah, gets us playing with some colors too. And I have to say, Pat, I think you're gonna really enjoy using that cottage fingering.
Oh, I'm just in love with it. It's just so soft and squishy.
I think I have some of that. It's wonderful. It's so nice.
Look at these colors. This is a dark purple, and this is obviously green. Here's a pretty blue.
Nice. Yeah.
And of course I have to get my pumpkin in there.
Nice.
I
Oh,
don't know why I
gorgeous
always
choices.
run to that color. And then I have a brown, a little brown.
Mhm.
So get you some of this. This is great stuff.
And I think
Well-
Kristen just reordered a
brown.
bunch because they were just flying out of the shop like crazy.
Well, what I
Um,
liked was I could pick my own colors.
Right? Isn't that fun?
And it was hard to pick just 6.
Well, and thankfully the photos that we have were actually by the dyer, and her photos were so true to colors.
They
You know,
were.
sometimes I have to re-photograph yarn to try to capture what they really are looking like in real life, but she had such a good job with capturing that. Lucy, did you have your hand up? Did you have a question?
No, I'm done.
Okay. With your second one.
Yes, my Carbeth.
Let's see.
Oh,
Are you
wait.
wearing it?
I'm wearing it.
Oh, let's see.
Wow.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
it's great.
They're,
There you go.
the sleeves are the,
The feature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find them difficult?
no. No, not really. Not when you, no.
Did you do the full collar? The fold
I
over
did,
collar?
I did the call, yeah. And on the swan dance, I did the fold over collar with the bind off. Which is what
I
she
really-
suggested, that one. And
I
this is
love
a
it.
super bulky.
Super bulky, did you say?
Yes. And I like the way it fits. It just took forever to dry.
Yes, mine did too.
Yeah.
So what size did you make?
I made a 48.
So
I
that
think
would
it's
be
a
a
4.
3? Is that
I
a
think
3?
it was a 4.
Okay. It looks great. I love the way it fits.
Yeah, I do too. And this
Is
was
it cold
stacked
where
on.
you are now?
I'm sorry?
Is it cold where you are now? Are you in Maine?
No, I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay, well, you're up in cold country.
Yeah, in the last couple mornings, it's been like 16, 17 degrees.
Ooh, perfect for that sweater.
Yeah, and we've been bombarded with snow.
I
So-
moved just in time.
Yeah, we've had people without power for days
Oh my.
Oh, wow.
last
my.
week.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
those
God,
of
look at
us
that.
in Maine, there's no snow.
Mm-mm.
It's
I'll
Why?
gladly send it up. It was terrible shoveling. It was so heavy.
Yes,
have-
wet snow.
We have a
Yes.
lot in New Hampshire. It's still here.
Oh dear.
snow in other parts of Maine.
Yeah, not in Yarmouth.
No,
Huh.
no.
In Edgecombe, we have snow.
Well, I'm not going to tell you what it's like where I am. You'd be mad at me.
Where are you? Where are you, Pat?
I'm in South Carolina now.
I think that's nice.
Oh,
So it's
You
chilly
don't-
here, but it's not cold.
What
It's
does
great
chilly
when the
mean?
sun's out. Chilly in the 50s.
Ugh.
Right
I'd love
now,
for the
it
50s.
has been in the 30s, which I was surprised to see that it was chilly, but no snow. So I can't complain.
Well, I think I'm the only one here that loves cold weather and
Oh, I
despises
love it.
hot
I like-
weather.
I love
I
snow
love
and
it. I
cold.
hate.
Are
I
you
love
snow
it.
bunnies?
Love snow and cold.
No, I find it very challenging living in Nashville.
So, you
So-
haven't moved yet? I thought you had moved. You were moving.
No. Things have come. Yeah, it's when you plan things, things come up that yeah. No, we haven't gotten there yet. We're hoping this summer or the fall that things will work out. But we're both determined to move north and get out of this hot weather. We don't, either one of us like it at all. We're wondering why we've been here for so long.
I'm with
Yeah.
you.
I found my mini to share for the next,
Oh, nice.
That's
Ooh.
pretty.
sort of like a crayon box, but then this is the first one I'm going to do though. This is the one I'm really excited about. I don't
I'd like to
Oh,
hear
wow.
you're planning more than one.
Yes. That's so
Pretty
pretty.
Colors.
I'm trying to mix I've played around with the order that I'm going to do it in many times, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of like blues.
Oh, and the pop of
Oh,
yellow.
very pretty. Yeah.
And yellow and like a very muted green.
Did you
Pretty.
pick yours out yourself too?
Yes.
They're pretty.
Well, I bought most of this is from that on the round, the small groups that the store has. And then I actually had some of these I already had in my stash, and my stash is embarrassingly large. So I figured I should look for something in my stash. I'm always trying to take my stash and give half of it to my sister-in-law, but
well, that's also one of the great things about this project too, because we figured, you know what, a lot of us have a little bit of this or that, but you might want to mix in some kind of other color but yeah, we all a little bit of fingering here and there left over from something, it adds up. But yeah, cool.
I'm always looking for a good pattern that I will actually use, that can use all of my leftover sock yarn and fingering yarn. So this will be a good one. This will make good gifts for next year, ladies. We can start making them and setting them aside for Christmas.
That's my plan.
Good girl.
That's my plan.
I love you planners. This is awesome. So good. And the other thought we had with this pattern too is, some people just can't stand lace. Well, then you could not do that section if the lace feels too overwhelming. So it's nice that there's options, and you can play around with what might be a fun challenge, but not not if it's not fun at all. So yeah.
I think you've made another good choice. Thank you.
Oh, well, we have so much fun trying to figure out what's going to be next for all
Well,
of
I
you.
love that you think about what can they learn this time. What might challenge them this time. So that's good, because we've learned something with each little venture.
Oh, yay.
Gotten braver as we go.
Yeah.
Good.
That's how I feel about the knit alongs. The same way, I've learned something each time. I've enjoyed the camaraderie of the other knitters in the group, and I just feel like I'm growing as a knitter. So I appreciate these groups.
I'm less afraid to try something new if I know I have a group with. I mean, there's a lot of knitting wisdom in all this group, and we're all
brave people that went ahead of us that we could ask questions of. Okay, how did you do that?
And I feel like even the really experienced, I would call myself intermediate, but I think even the really experienced knitters in the group, it's such a nice group to just, you don't have to be intimidated by anybody's skill level, because everybody's so nice about it.
I think we're all learning.
Yeah.
We're all
we never
learning.
Stop learning.
And that's, I think, one of the best parts about a craft like this too, is that each new pattern, each new yarn we're using, and that, I think you're right. There really is something about the group dynamic and mentality where you can feel like, okay, so I'm not just on my own trying to figure out this one weird instruction that I don't understand. There's some support, and it's just such a nice group. I mean, when we were thinking about the knit-alongs and thinking about okay, we'll offer something on Zoom, a little intimidating, like how many people will show up, what will it be like, and then realizing that it kind of has turned into a really pretty close virtual experience to being in the shop, and the dynamic that we get when you're sitting next to somebody who's like, oh, what are you doing with this? Oh, how'd you do that again? And like, oh, what's and it's just I think it's exceeded our expectations and what you could really expect or to experience in a virtual way, where we're all across the country, and we're some of us won't ever meet face to face, but here we are.
Well, keep it up. It's wonderful.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
A lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Because my closest knitting shop is one is 45 minutes and one is over an hour. So yeah.
Well, and then I'm not far from the Cashmere Goat, but my work schedule, I can't always get there. So it's nice to have, I can jump on at 5 o'clock on the evening.
That's right. That's wonderful.
So good. Well,
We
you guys need-
appreciate you, Iris.
Oh, well, I was gonna say,
Oh,
I
yes,
appreciate
yes,
this
yes,
too.
yes.
The feeling is entirely mutual. Yeah. And it's so fun because it feels like the community of people that share a passion when you get together and just like get really nerdy and talk about your swatching and talking about your, this aspect and like how the ratio, I mean, like that's so important, but if we were just alone in our little bubbles, it's
We
maybe
would
less.
never know about those things. We would never hear it. We would never understand it. I'm loving it because I hear about stitch counts and how to bind off and how to cast on and new ideas that I would not know of other than reading a pattern. So this is wonderful.
That's awesome. Well, listen, we are at our 6 o'clock marker. So what I would just say is please send some photos if you haven't already, because I would love to include your work in our slideshow and then have that ready for our final Carbeth Zoom next Wednesday, where we'll do a little slideshow. Wear your Carbeth if you have it. If you don't, bring it and work on it. And we'll just have another visit next week and wrap this up. But thanks for being here tonight. And next week I'll be back at my house and I'll be joining you from there.
How's your mom?
She's improving. She had a full knee replacement 1 week ago. So
I know it's not fun. Been there. So
yeah.
Oh, is it?
send my love.
I will. Thank you, Pat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. She's doing well. All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
Y'all have a great week,
Thank you,
everybody.
Iris.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah, take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.